Okay, so this is the way to do collaboration in the upcoming hackathon. So the first thing you want to do is go to repellite.com. This will allow you to, this will give you like a text editor which multiple people can edit at the same time. So that is good for collaboration. Now, what you want to do once you're here is click on new REPL here. Once you click there, you have to click on import from GitHub. After that, you go to your GitHub account and go to the repository for this hackathon, Zense/Canvas competition. Once you're here, you fork this repository. You click on this fork button, and that will create your own version of the repository. So once you forked it, you copy your URL for the repository here, copy it and paste it in this box here on repellite.com, and click import from GitHub. So now Repellite will take all the files from this repository, and all the files will show up here. Okay, so you can see that there are 3 files here: readme.md, index.html, and canvas.js. Right, so you don't have to care about the first and the last one. You only have to care about this index.html here. Now, in this index.html, there is some stuff up here, which again you don't have to care about. You only have to care about this stuff in between the script tags. Now, there is 2 functions here. You can see there's a setup function and a main function. And then there is some stuff here. Now, I'll explain to you what all of this is. So first of all, time step. So since this is a Canvas project and it's almost like you're making a video, right? You're making a video, 2D video. Now, this frame time step is basically frame time, which means the time between 2 consecutive frames. So one frame will stay on screen for 50 milliseconds. This is milliseconds, 50 milliseconds, and after that, the next frame will show up, and the next, and so on, right? And each frame will have a slightly different, let's say, position of an object, so that will, when put together, they'll look like the object is moving. Now, the thing, how we do this with code is after each time the time step happens, which means every 50 milliseconds, the main function is called. So you want to make sure that the main function changes some, let's say, an object's position, so that when it's called every time, it refreshes and each frame has a slightly changed position. Okay, so I'll show you with an example. So first of all, you declare the global variables above setup. So for example, I declare, let's say, ball x. I declare ball y, and let's say ball radius. Okay, ball r. Now in the setup function, we give it the initial values of the function, of the variables. So let's say I keep ball x as 60, or let's say if it has, yeah, I think 60 should be. Let's say I keep ball y. So this is basically the first frame, right? So these values will be for the first frame. So let's say 100, and ball r will be 30. Okay. Now you can also create your custom functions here, but right now we'll just write everything in the main function. So all these functions can be called from the main function. So so again, the main function will be called every time this time step is over, like every 50 milliseconds in this case, the main function will be called. Okay, so canvas.clear will basically clear the canvas for you, and then you need to, okay, first of all, in this, just click done over here, just click done, and it will do its thing. Okay, so now if you run it, you'll see that nothing happens over here because we've not done anything. So now the repository for this hackathon itself has all of the functions listed and how to use them. So you can go through that and use all these functions to, let's say, make objects and interact with them. So for example, I'll create a circle, we'll create a ball. So I'll have to create a circle. So this is the function that we care about, draw circle. So it takes 3 arguments, x, y, and r. So it draws a circle with center x, comma, y, with radius r. So I'll just give it canvas dot draw circle x, y, and r. So x is, in our case, ball x, is ball y, and ball r. Okay, so when I run this, you see that the circle is created. Okay, amazing. So let's just create. Okay, for now, let's just say we want to move this circle ahead. Okay, so we want to increment its x every time this main function is called, which is called after every 50 milliseconds. So I'll just say we'll just change the ball x variable here, right? So we'll just say ball x plus equals, let's say, 2, right? So when I click run now, you'll see that the ball is moving, because every time this main function is called, the x position increments by 2, and this is called every 50 milliseconds. So if I let's say make it 100 milliseconds, you'll see that the ball is slowed down, because every 100 milliseconds the ball's x is incremented by 2. And if I make it, let's say, 1 second, so 1000 milliseconds, so it will be even slower. So every 1 second now the ball's position will be incremented by 2. So that's how you should adjust your timestamp. This is basically the frame rate. So this is how you get things to move. Now there is other functions as well. For example, we have a key down callback, right? Now I'll tell you how to use these callback functions. So what this key down callback does is, whenever you press a key, it calls a certain function. So this is a function which you need to set to your own function, which you want to happen once the key is down. So what happens, every time you press some key, a function called key down callback is called, right? And now you need to set this function to your own function which you want to be called. So you just say, let's say, for example, if we don't want the ball to just go x plus equals 2, we want it to go only when we press the right arrow. So what we do is we say canvas dot key down callback. So this is the function. Now we set it to our own function. So we say equal to, and we create a function here, function which takes the key, let's say, and in that we define our own function. Now this is just a fancy way of defining a function. You can also define it somewhere up here, let's say somewhere here. That is also fine. So you can just name it something in this case. So function move, let's say, right? So function move. This just says it takes a key. Now if key dot code, this key dot code is where what key is pressed will be stored. So that will be done by the framework. You don't have to worry about it. So if the key dot code is equal to, let's say, arrow left. So all of this is written in the documentation here. What key is what. So in this case, arrow left is the left arrow key. If that's the case, or let's say arrow right. If that's the case, then we want to change the ball x by 2. Okay, so this is basically the move function. Now we say key down callback equals move. So that way, what you're doing is you're basically overriding the key down callback function with this move function here. So, and key down callback is the function which is called every time you press key, right? When the key is down, basically. So when you're pressing and holding it down. So we run it now. You see the ball. If I press the right key, it moves. If I release the right key, it stops. Press it again, it moves. So yeah, this is how the key callbacks work. Similarly, there are other callbacks as well. Like there is mouse up callback, there is key up callback, right? So basically, you can go through these and use them whenever you want. So this is how it works. So let's just make a simple collision detection, very simple collision detection. So let's just make a wall here. Okay, so there is a function called draw line. There's a bunch of functions. You can also draw an ellipse, draw rectangle, but this is the draw line function. It draws a line from x1 comma y1 to x2 comma y2. So let's just use that. We'll draw a line. So canvas dot draw line, and draw line from say 600 comma 0 to 600 comma 1000. So that will draw one. So that will draw a line. Now we want this ball to not pass this line, right? So it's like a wall. So what we just do here is ball x plus equals 2, but we don't want to do this if the ball x plus radius is already equal to this ball's x coordinate. So we just say if ball x plus ball r, which is x plus radius, if that is equal to, or if that is greater than or equal to the ball's x coordinate, which is 600, then just do nothing. You just return. So once you return from here, this won't be executed because the return will just finish this function. That's it. So now if I just keep doing this, let's increase the speed. Of course, we can change this 2 to let's say 10, and that will increase the speed. So it goes. As soon as it hits the wall, it stops. Right. So we can also implement, let's say, a left function, so like to go left. So similar to arrow right, we press arrow left. Now we remove this line because there is no wall on the left side, and ball, let's say, minus equals 10. So now if I press the right key, now if I press the right key, the ball goes and hits the wall, and it doesn't go above it. If I press the left key, it goes to the left. Press right key, it goes to the right, but it doesn't pass the wall. So this is like a basic idea of how to use this framework. So iterating again, time step is based the frame time, so you can control your frame rate through this. And main function is what will be called after each time step. So that will you can keep incrementing stuff. Setup is where you should initialize your variables, global variables, and you should declare them up here above setup. Now, the reason why we declare them here and not inside the main function is because we don't want these values to reset every time the main function is called. So let's say if I declare all these after them inside the main function, what will happen is every time the main function is called, the values will be reset. So the ball just won't move because every time the main function is called, its x is setting to 90, its y is getting set to 100, and r is 30. So we don't want that. We just want it to be set the first time, and after that, the move function will take care of the values, right? So we don't want these. So we remove them, and we instead declare them in the setup function. Because the setup function is only called once in the beginning, and that's it. So when you run it through this, you can move the one. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.